Hi, my name is Doug, and I'm in charge of the customer experience for American Medical, the Oxygen Concentrator Store. We know that your portable oxygen concentrator is your lifeline to the world, and it gives you your freedom back. So taking care of your concentrator and making sure that it's running effectively is one of the most important things you can do. One of the questions that we get asked the most frequently is, what do I need to do to maintain my Inogen G4? Maintaining your machine is important because you'll make sure that it's running at its most effective and you can prevent any issues that may arise. Just like any other machine, your Inogen G4 requires regular maintenance in order to run effectively. To start, there are a few basic steps to maintaining your Inogen G4 on a regular basis. We'll start with a few simple maintenance procedures that you can run at any time to make sure that your Inogen G4 is running effectively. Your Inogen G4 works by pulling ambient air in and filtering it out to be medical grade oxygen. So it's really important that your Inogen G4 is clean and free of dust and debris. On a weekly basis, you're going to want to make sure that you've cleaned the entire outside of your Inogen G4 and that you make sure that this filter and this intake vent are free of any dust and debris. You can simply pop out this filter and run it under hot water. You can also take a damp cloth and wipe it off if you're worried about running it under water. Just make sure that it's dry before you put it back on the machine and keep it running. Keeping the filter clean on your Inogen G4 is incredibly important. This is where it pulls in air from the outside and turns it into medical grade oxygen. If there's dirt and debris building on this filter, it will be able to pull in less oxygen, meaning it won't be running at its most efficient and effective. This one might seem like common sense, but you're going to want to handle your Inogen G4 with care. Do not bump it, do not drop it. Any of these things can negatively jar the machine, and it's got lots of moving parts inside that could be damaged if you're not careful with your Inogen G4. A really good tip that I heard at one point was, treat your Inogen G4 as if it was a small pet. You're not going to drop your small pet. You're not going to bump your small pet into the wall. You're not going to take your small pet outside into the rain without keeping it covered. If you follow those rules, you'll always make sure that you're treating your Inogen G4 with care, and that way it's going to be running at its most effective. Another good thing to remember is, when your Inogen G4 battery is charged, don't leave the charger plugged into the wall. If you're charging your Inogen G4 battery while it's on the concentrator, it's okay to leave the concentrator plugged in if you're using it on the AC power, but simply remove the battery. If you're charging your Inogen G4 battery on the external charger, as soon as it's fully charged, unplug the charger from the wall or remove the battery from the charger. Removing your Inogen G4 battery from the charger once it's fully charged ensures there's no possibility of overcharging the battery or the battery developing any battery memory. There are also a few important maintenance steps you're going to want to do on a monthly basis to make sure your Inogen G4 continues to run at peak performance. Some people don't use their Inogen G4 on a regular basis. They might only use it to get out of the house or for travel. So you want to make sure that you use your Inogen G4 at least 10 hours a month. There's a lot of moving parts inside an Inogen G4, and you want to make sure that they're getting the proper lubricant and that they're functioning correctly. Running your Inogen G4 at least 10 hours a month will also ensure that the sieve beds don't harden. The sieve beds are the filters inside of the Inogen G4 that remove the nitrogen from the ambient air to produce medical grade oxygen. If you primarily use your Inogen G4 for travel, keep in mind that your Inogen G4 runs at its best when it's used frequently. At least 2 months before your trip, you'll want to take your Inogen G4 and run it to make sure that everything is working properly. That includes running it on battery power and making sure that all of your batteries can take a charge, and plugging it into both your AC and DC adapters to make sure that the unit will be able to run and charge on all power sources. Prolonged storage is a common cause of issues that will require factory maintenance. Making sure that your concentrator is running this far in advance from your trip will ensure that you know everything's working properly and you'll be able to take a stress-free trip. Even if you're someone that uses your Inogen G4 regularly, you want to make sure that at least once a month you run it on both your AC and DC charger and that it's been run on the battery. This is an important step for anyone to make sure that all of the components of their Inogen G4 are working properly. If you primarily use your Inogen G4 on the AC or DC charger, also make sure that once a month you're running it on battery power only for at least 2 hours on each of the batteries that you own. Your tubing and your cannula are your lifeline to the oxygen that the Inogen G4 produces. So you'll also want to make sure that you're changing your cannula at least on a monthly basis. You don't have to change your tubing on a monthly basis, but you should at least be checking it to make sure that it's free of any dirt and debris. If you own multiple batteries for your Inogen G4, you'll want to make sure that you're cycling your batteries on at least a monthly basis. All battery cycling is you'll want to make sure that if you primarily use one battery, that you make sure that each month you switch which battery is your primary battery. So you might use battery 1 all of January, battery 2 all of February, and battery 3 all of March. Cycling your batteries on a more regular basis is not a problem at all. In fact, it's a really good idea, but you'll want to make sure that it happens at least once a month to make sure that each of your batteries are functioning properly and that they're hitting their full cycle charge. Proper care and maintenance of your Inogen G4 ensures it's running at its peak performance and prevents issues that may require it to go in for factory servicing. We know that you need your Inogen G4 as your lifeline to the world, so we want to make sure that it has to go in for servicing as little as possible. In order to make sure that you remember to do these maintenance procedures, a really good tip is to have a checklist of all the maintenance procedures and store it wherever you charge your Inogen G4. We've developed a simple checklist that you can keep by your Inogen G4, so ask us about it and we'll be happy to provide it to you. Thanks again for watching. We hope you found the information in this video helpful, and if you have any other questions, go ahead and call our customer service line at 877-303-9289 or email us service@amsrco.com. Thanks again.